of picks for the primetime games, and we also dabble into some of the weekend NFL and college football as well. And my guest today will be the cappers from Pick Dogs and Sports Chat Place. We'll take a look at them. We got El Ninos in, and Alex Smart will join us as well. Rod Zawacki, Chris Ruffalo, and of course my co-host today will be Mitch. Mitch, how you doing this Thursday? Got a lot of action, man. We got Thursday night football, college football. We've got an NBA West final game going, so a pretty busy day.
It is a busy day. It's kind of like it's not a full baseball card, but it is enough of a baseball card to keep us going. Throw in, the trifecta: college football, NFL football, and NBA. This is like what we dreamed about in July, in early July and June and May, when we were like, oh man, when's sports going to start? It started. It's official. We're all good. Alabama's playing Saturday, and it's NFL Week 3, Ravens, Chiefs. I mean, it's all coming together.
Yeah, it certainly is. And of course, we got to look at what happened last night with the Heat. They're up 3-1 in this series. Boston again with those turnovers. And of course, the Heat got to their free throw line. They made their free throws, and they're up 3-1 in this series.
Yeah, I think that was a suspect call there at the end when Tatum was driving to the hoop. Jimmy Butler, clean block, as well as, a push-off that would have been called pass interference in the NFL. And then they call it a jump ball, even though the ball went out of bounds off of Tatum. There was nothing there that said that it should have been Celtics ball or a jump ball or anything but Heat ball. It was like any of the outcomes result in a Heat ball. So I don't understand how they get to a jump ball there, but thankfully it didn't matter in the game. And of course, we were getting plenty of points in that one, and so it all worked out in the end.
All right, Mitch, we got baseball going on here. We're going to start here about 10 minutes from now. White Sox and Indians, Keuchel and please Sack, about 5 minutes away here with the Cleveland Indians favored about $1.30. Total sits here at 7.5. Looking at the playoff race right now, Mitch, the White Sox sit as a second place team now in the Central. The 4 seed at 34-22. Cleveland battling for that wild card, pretty much 2 games in the loss column behind the White Sox, but White Sox here trying to try to scrap and get into that 3 seed.
Yeah, the White Sox, I never believed that this was going to be their year, but we saw some magical things happen over the course of the season. And I think they've kind of just been kind of going through the motions to try and get into the, to be in the best possible shape that they could be in the postseason. I think, this White Sox team certainly has the firepower at the plate. Not sure if they have the pitching to get them home, but we're going to find out. I think with a shortened rotation, that they're going to be okay because they move some of these other guys to the pen, and I think they're going to be one of those teams that's going to be a lot better with a 3-man rotation, without Ronaldo Lopez in the rotation.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this is the drive-through, 6 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday. We have a lot of picks coming. We're going to cover NFL. We'll have a pick from the NFL game. It's the Jaguars and Dolphins. Also, that big NBA game, Lakers and Nuggets. That pick is coming up. We've got a college football game tonight, UAB in South Alabama. That we'll have a pick on that, as well as a lot of plays from Major League Baseball. We'll also dabble in some other sports in there as well. And let's go ahead and welcome to our show right now one of our Pick Dogs cappers, Alex Smart. You'll find him over at the site. Alex, how you doing today? And of course, we've been following this action in Major League Baseball with this playoff race. A lot different than what we're used to.
Yeah, a lot different. And, sometimes it makes it difficult to handicap some of this stuff. I mean, but of course we're in that part of the season where teams need wins at certain times. But the price is so high, you just have to sit there and shake your head. And that's where the underdogs come in. So there we go. We've got some value too.
Absolutely. We saw some underdogs, come through today with the Pirates and the Cubs. Who saw that one coming, Mitch, with the Pirates on top over the Cubbies 7-0?
Well, I think the morning show had that one. I think we were all on the Pirates in that one this morning. So hopefully you guys tuned in and grabbed an easy winner in that one. Alec Mills threw a no-hitter this year. It doesn't make him good. I think we've seen pitchers throw a perfect game. And I can't even remember the guy's name. He was with the White Sox. He threw a perfect game in Seattle, and I don't even think he made it through the season as a major leaguer. And, we've seen it time and time again. But, the Pirates, one of the best 18-win teams you'll ever see.
Absolutely, no doubt.
At least they were today.
That is right. Really hard to actually, the Pirates have always given Cubs some problems back in the day. But always, right?
Always.
Yeah. Interesting there. All right, Alex, you're going to be taking a look here at this interleague game. This is the bailout. It's Oakland Fires, Dodgers, and Buehler. A big favorite here for the Dodgers, minus 220 to 230 in some places. The total sits here at 9. Of course, the Dodgers, they've already, you look at the line and say, what do the Dodgers have to play for? They have nothing to play for. They're the number 1 seed. So we got Oakland coming in a big dog in this one.
And that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Oakland as a dog, and Buehler, who's I've always been like, I won't call myself a fan of any pitcher, but I've always liked Buehler, but he's had a lot of issues with blisters, and how far he's going to go in this game, I don't know. What hodgepodge of pitchers will replace him if he doesn't go too deep? And that's another question you have to ask. And when you look at this kind of value, I know there's some even sharp money on the other side of this, even taking run line cash. And I mean, it's got me shaking my head because from my perspective, at least, I look at Fears as a capable pitcher. I mean, it's not one of his greatest seasons. He's got a 4.67 ERA, but he's winning. His team can back him up, and he's got a good history against the Dodgers too. This is going back a little bit, but in 2015 in August, when he was with the Astros, he no-hit the Dodgers, and so he's got some good memories. And in his only career game at Dodger Stadium, he allowed 1 run, 7 innings, and that was way back in 2012. Now, I'm not saying, history does have a way of mimicking itself and not always repeating itself. But what I'm saying here is Fears probably feels pretty good tonight. I feel pretty good. I'm getting this much money, 200 plus $2 on the money line here with the Athletics. And what I'm going to recommend here is something a little bit different. We're going to do a split line. We're going to take the reversed run line with half unit of play, and we're going to take the money line underdog with the other half. So we're going to get plus 1.5 with the Athletics. So we're going to take plus 1.5 with the Athletics, and we're going to lay some. We're not going to lay anything, actually. We're going to take the underdog money. So that's what I want everybody to do. Split it down the middle. Yeah.
All right, split it down the middle. It says Alex Martin here on our show. Mitch, looking here at the Dodgers situation now. Buehler in this blister situation, can keep a good eye on him, and then of course could be the bullpen. But you're really just tough to trust this Dodger bullpen as we get down the stretch. They've had their struggles in some games.
Yeah, they have had their struggles, and as we look a lot around Major League Baseball, it would be that point in the season where we normally start to see teams are pretty much undressed at this part of the season. We already know what they are and who they are. And the Dodgers, as good as they've been this season, they haven't been an all-time great team or anything like that. As a matter of fact, we've seen some weakness in them. And last night, we saw it in the game last night where, Oakland had the lead. The Dodgers came back. Turner did play, and it's like they did have that fire there. And then, the 9th inning, guy hits a ball with 2 outs, and then all of a sudden the ball leaves the park, and, we're all cashing Oakland tickets. And, which was beautiful, plus 150, plus 160, whatever the case may be. We don't talk about it yesterday, but, I think that's what we're seeing in baseball. I mean, I'm watching the Rockies-Giants right now, and, we were talking about this before the show, that I know someone that might be a little interested in this one. And, the Rockies here, gigantic underdogs, plus 200 and change. They're down 3-2, 1 out with guys on second and third in the 7th inning. If they cash here on the reverse run line, on the alternate run line, or on their run line at plus 1.5, it's still plus money. It's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with cashing an even money ticket. That's for sure.
Alex, I'm looking here at the playoff chase here. Oakland at 1 game in loss column behind Tampa Bay for that 1 seed. And it looks like it's going to be either Toronto. Most likely Toronto is going to be that 8 seed. Now, if you get into that 7 seed, that's the Cleveland Indians, or actually, yeah, it is the Indians, or it could be the White Sox if they play down that way. Could be the Twins as well. But you're probably looking at Cleveland. So if you're Oakland or Tampa Bay, I think you probably would want to see Toronto or instead of Cleveland, because Cleveland, you got Bieber, you got some pretty good pitching there with the Indians.
Well, absolutely. You want the inexperienced Jays, and the Jays might have had a great season, but a lot of inexperience all through that lineup. And I wouldn't bet them with confidence. The Jays in that first round for sure. I wouldn't.
All right, so here joined here with Alex Smart. Of course, Mitch, you think these teams are looking into that situation like a 2 seed with Oakland? Or do you think they would want to get in that one to avoid Cleveland in that best of 3?
I don't think anyone's looking to avoid anybody. I think they're all just looking to get into the postseason, and they figure if they're going to go to where they want to go, you're going to have to go through the best teams, and that's just the way that it is. And I think all these guys are professional. There's usually no slouches in these professional leagues, and for every guy that's on a major league roster, there's 50 guys competing for that spot. So I think that every guy tries in every single at bat except Charlie Blackmon seems to be having a little bit of trouble here, but we know he's a gamer. But anyways, I think that. I think everyone's just trying to get in, and we're going to play whoever they put in front of us, and that's just kind of the way that it is. I think that trying to figure out who you're going to play and when you're going to play and all those sorts of things, especially with home field kind of out the window, I don't think it matters as much.
All right, here on the drive-through, guys, I'm joined with Mitch and Alex Smart. Alex, I see the top of leaderboards over at Pig Dogs this season, over 1,100 units of profit as we hit the bottom of the hour. What do you have going right now over at Pig Dogs Premium?
We've got some NFL and some NBA. I've been struggling the last 3 or 4 days with my NBA selections, and I'm ready for a bounce back tonight. I got to move in a positive direction after a nice long, hot streak. So join me tonight. I'm ready to pepper the books tonight.
All right, check out Alex Smart over at Pig Dogs Premium. He's having a fantastic season. You'll see him top of the leaderboards up there. Alex, it's always great having your show. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, gentlemen. Have a good night. See you later.
All right. My buddy Alex Smart here on the Drive-Thru Show. Guys, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday is when we're on. And a lot of picks still coming up on the show. We got that Lakers-Nuggets pick. We got the Thursday Night Football, which we'll take a look at, as well as the college football game for tonight. Thursday Night Football between UAB and South Alabama. All right, let's turn our attentions here to NFL. Mitch, we've got the Dolphins and the Jaguars kicking off here in just about 2 hours away from kickoff in this one. And we've seen Jacksonville open here as a favorite, close to about a field goal. They're still at a field goal favorite. Total sits at 49, sort of a high total, man. This total's jumped up from. I saw the opener here at 44. So it's been the totals that have been coming, because the overs have been coming in the NFL today. Well, I guess without the crowds, the defense, the road team, they can hear the signals, they can get off the line of scrimmage, a little better pass protection, but. Looking for Miami, they were competitive in losses against New England and Buffalo to begin the season. The Dolphins did improve their offense in week 2 with Ryan Fitzpatrick there. Of course, we're looking at Jacksonville, 1-1 team. How do you see this one, Dolphins and the Jags?
Well, you gotta figure that the Dolphins, in all fairness, had a really tough draw to start the season, taking on at New England, which is never an easy spot for anybody. Bill Belichick still coaching there. And then, up against the Buffalo Bills, who most people have pegged to win that division. So, two tough games. Of course, the Buffalo game was at home. They covered the spread in that one. So in my book, they won that one. So, they're 1-1 against the number. But, Jacksonville, I think, is also a big surprise, right now, especially that first game where they came back against the Colts and beat them. Obviously Jacksonville is going to be a tough customer as well, but this is the NFL, and you can't look at so much at what happened last week against a certain opponent. There's different matchups this week in this Miami game, and I could see, when I did the video earlier this week over on Sports Chat, I've been doing early look videos at Sports Chat and then later in the week videos at Pick Dogs. And when I did the early look, the total was down, and I said, this one probably sneaks over. And then, you get to later on in the week, and you're kind of like, this looks like an under. So it's like I have one video that says over, one says under. People question me on it. It's like, it's a huge difference in those numbers. Plus, I still think it goes under anyway. Gave me more chance to look at it.
All right, joined here with Mitch here on the drive-thru, looking at this Dolphins and the Jaguars. I would look to take the points in this one with Miami. I looked at some sneaky stats here with Myles Gaskin and Matt Breida having some success on the ground. Of course, with Ryan Fitzpatrick, he seems to be his own boss out there sometimes offensively. He will be throwing against the 30th ranked pass defense in the Jags here. So as a Miami guy, I know you're not the biggest fan of the Dolphins anymore, but how do you see the Dolphins here in this one?
Well, this is a good a good Dolphin team. We saw it at the end of last season. So it's not like a huge surprise that, the Dolphins are a quality team. They're going to have to win some of these road games, and this is what I would call a winnable spot for the Dolphins. So, I think that either they're going to, I think they have a solid chance to win the game outright, but to me it's like it's still the Dolphins. It's still the Dolphins, and you have to prove it. It's in the NFL and Major League Baseball, even the college football. I did the college football videos early in the week at Sports Chat with Ruffalo. I'm doing the college football videos later in the week at Pick Dogs, and Ruffalo, he dug in, he did his free pick articles, and he had all these things to say, and they say at the end of the day, Mark Herman's an 8-5 coach, and that's really what he is. It's like until I see otherwise, beating UTEP doesn't do that for me. And I think it's the same thing in the NFL. I think, beating Phillip Rivers, it's still beating Phillip Rivers, and it's like it doesn't translate. Beating one team doesn't always translate to beating somebody else. We saw it with the Chiefs. Yeah, and then you have a divisional opponent like the Chargers, and all of a sudden, they don't look so good anymore, right? It's like a team that's built to play them. You have to remember, teams within your division, like Jacksonville faced, right? You're built to play those teams. You know who you play, 6-year games every single year. You draft your players to play against those teams. You win your division, regardless of your record. You go to the playoffs. You start off 6-0 with beating the teams in your division, 5-1. You're well off to, all you got to do is pretty much go 500 the rest of the way with everybody else, and you're in. So it's like those matchups that you're matched up to play against the AFC South, or you're matched up to play against, the Dolphins played against teams that they were, built to match up against, and the Jags the same. But these two teams were not built to match up against one another.
All right, drive through here, joined by Mitch.
They didn't look and say, like the Dolphins when Flores is drafting, right? He's not like, we got this game against Jacksonville in September of 2020. Let's spend our second round pick on this guy because he's gonna win this game. I mean, it's just not the way that it's done. It's it's like, we're up against Tom Brady, and twice a year, and we need corners to do that. And it's like we're up against Gronk, we're up against Josh Allen. We're up against these type of guys.
All right, this is Drive Through, guys, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. Make sure you tune in and smash that like button. Greatly appreciate it for those of you in our live chat. I will continue here. Guys, we got a lot more games to talk about. We're going to look at we've got college football still, some baseball. But right now, we're going to welcome to the show El Ninos, and we're going to take a look at Major League Baseball. And El, how you doing this afternoon, evening?
Not too bad. How are you?
Oh, can't complain. I know you're having a good start to the football season, but you're going to be looking at baseball here. You'll be looking at this Tigers and Royals game. It's Fulmer against Bubik. When I see Fulmer, man, he scares me to death. So how do you see this one?
Yeah, he's not a pitcher. I don't know when the last time I backed him is, if I ever have. But anyway, he's having a rough season, putting up some ugly numbers. Looks like he will be opening for Alexander, who's been a little better, but still nothing too great there. And you got Bubic going for the Royals, and we backed them yesterday. They came through as a little dog. They're quite big favorites in this one. Of course, a different matchup for them, a slightly weaker opponent with at least a better pitching matchup for them. And Soler, who it was really that was one of the reasons I really liked him yesterday. He was back in the lineup. Looks like he won't be starting today. But again, I like this pitching matchup enough to back the Royals here. So I'm going to take them -1, or the official play I guess we're going with is on the run line. But I would put a little bit on the money line too, just for insurance, as they're the home team. And they scored a lot of runs yesterday. Not sure how many they got left tonight, but I think they could get at least a few to get the win here against Fulmer and Alexander. So yeah, going with the Royals tonight.
Now, kind of the big step down in class angle here, Mitch, with the Royals facing the Tigers. The Royals kind of held their own against those against the bad teams this year, but of course, Royals they've got some quality starters here. We've seen a Singer, and of course, Duffy on his good day can be pretty good, but the Royals got some work to do.
They do have some work to do, but at least this was the first through the second half of the season. I started to at least understand what the Royals are trying to do and the direction that they're heading. Alex Gordon is retiring after this season. He's announced, he announced today 14 years in the major leagues. And I think, he's probably on the injured list, probably 13 and a half of those, but he's still, the Royals are going in a new direction. It's clear, they have some good young pitchers in place, Singer, Bubik's not bad. You have some veteran leaders to kind of get you through it, but not guys that you have to carry on the roster. And that, I'm sure Alex Gordon, I don't have the numbers offhand, but you guys know me, I'm going to look it up. I'm sure he makes a lot of money, and not having to pay him is probably going to help this team. So, they're not considered, the Royals have never been big spenders. There's never been a team that's like, oh yeah, we're going to go out and spend $35 million on Garrett Cole, $35 million a year. It's like the Royals aren't in the mix in the Bryce Harper, auction. It's just not their wheelhouse. But they do build talent, and they have historically done that. He makes $4 million a year. I would have thought he made probably 12. But Salvador Perez makes $2 million on the Royals. Meanwhile, ex Royal Zach Greinke makes $31 million. It's probably more than their whole roster. Soler, Al's guy, makes $3 million. And this is the way the Royals do it. They bring them up through the farm.
Yeah, they seem to get some really live arms out of the farm system. But this Tiger team, Al, they showed a little improvement to begin the year, but they kind of flattened out and really kind of sputtered at the end.
Yeah, they were one of the surprises at the start of the season. And, they do have some bats that can hit the ball pretty hard, but their pitching hasn't been there, obviously. And they're definitely not their best pitchers going out there tonight. So I'll take a little shot against them here.
All right, Al says.
But I think Skubal. I don't think Fulmer's their best pitcher. I think Skubal and Mize are certainly the future of that organization in Detroit. And I think that we saw some great things out of Detroit this season. I mean, the Cincinnati Reds are a team that two of the guys on our morning show picked to go to the World Series from the National League. Still, at this point in the season. Meanwhile, the Tigers swept them in Cincinnati to start the season at +2 and change. All the way through it. So this Tigers team certainly has nothing to hang their head about, and I certainly wouldn't say Michael Fulmer is their number one. I think Casey Mize is probably their number one. That's why he went off against Kenta Maeda, and Tarek Skubal is certainly number two.
Oh yeah, I said that wasn't their greatest pitcher.
Oh no, Fulmer's been a dumpster fire. I mean, he's
Speaking of dumpster fire, let's give you an update here. Rockies have pushed 2 across. They're now up 4-3 on the Giants, bottom of the 7th, Mitch. So the Rockies take the lead.
I wonder what now my friend's got to be wondering why he didn't just take them to outright win at the +200 game. I'm sure he's thinking that at this particular moment. Matter of fact, possible. I'm 100% certain.
Rockies still survive.
That's what I was thinking.
They still 4 games out of the wild card. They're going to need a lot of help, but they're still in there. Of course, the Giants still another team that is sitting in the wild card position right now, but they're up 1 game on both the Phillies and the Brewers. So it's still tight there in the wild card picture. If the Mets lose today, they will be eliminated. By the way, they are playing the Nationals, and they're threatening here in their inning here against the Nationals. All right, Al, I know you're having a good start to the football season. Why don't you let us know what you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium as we hit the bottom of the hour?
Yeah, I got my couple MLB plays tonight. I have the NHL play and the NHL play is tomorrow, and I have my NBA, NFL, and college football out for tonight. So yeah, check them out. College football's off to a pretty good start. As you said, you wanted more volume. Well, I'm giving you this game on Thursday night there too. And not the prettiest football game on Thursday night, but on the NFL side, but got my pick on the side there too.
All right, have a great weekend. Of course, Al's doing great in the NFL and college football, so check him out over at Pig Dogs Premium. Al, it's always great having your show. Take a day off tomorrow from the show. Enjoy it. Come back energized for Monday, okay?
Will do. See you then.
All right, everybody. Al here on Drive-Thru. Guys, we're here. Let's get this right. All right, there we go. I'm joined by Mitch here on the Drive-Thru. A lot more picks coming. We're at the bottom of the hour. More baseball. We have we've got the NBA pick coming, Lakers and Nuggets. And, of course, we've got some NFL and college football as well to talk about. But, Mitch, we got a game starting in 10 minutes. Yankees, Montgomery, Toronto, and Ryu. This is one of the games I was looking forward to watching. Split down the middle in the wagers here. Looks like the Yankees about $1.10, $1.18 in some places. Total sits here at 9.5. The Yankees right now sit as the 5 seed, 2 games behind the White Sox for home field in the mini series. And of course, the playoffs will be starting shortly. And Montgomery, the lefties, had some career luck against the Blue Jays. Pitched well against them. Ryu, his last 2 starts against the Yankees, he's been lit up. And he was lit up last year when he faced the Dodgers. So interesting matchup here, Mitch, as we have Toronto and New York Yankees first pitch in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Toronto's number 1 pitcher up here against Jordan Montgomery and still at this kind of price. And I think that's what we're really looking at in this game. And, the Yankees outside of last night have absolutely been hitting the cover off the ball. And outside of last night, the Toronto Blue Jays have been in absolute free fall. I think they're in trouble with the Angels right on their heels. So, certainly a ton to play for Toronto. We'll have to see if it inspires them, but it has not been a pretty picture. And if they fall out of the playoffs, you got to figure heads are going to roll after the big trade deadline moves. All
right, we had PDG says Ryu is smoking a cigarette as we speak. So we think he might be feeling the nerves here. He's had some tough. He's been pounded by the Yankees.
Absolutely. Tony, I know, is big on the Ryu with the smoking.
Yep. I have a friend who works for their TV channel over there, so I got some tips there. All right, guys, drive through here. Everyone here, we like to get your chat responses. Of course, don't forget to smash that like button because that helps push us up the rankings there. You help our audience grow when you do that, so we appreciate that. All right. We'll continue here. As I said, we got a lot of picks coming here in the second half of the show, so we're going to keep moving. All right, let's welcome one of the Puck Dogs. You can listen to Rod Zawacki in the morning and watch him with Mitch and company at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time in the morning show. Rod, how are you doing today? Sporting that Dolphins cap, so I kind of guess who you're on tonight. And we got you on mute. I think you got the mute.
There we go. I'm always sporting the Dolphins hat. Dolphins fan, been a fan for a while.
All right, so you'll be watching the game as a fan. Now, just your thoughts here. I know you came in with the hockey yesterday, which was a winner for us. Your thoughts here in that series?
Oh, yeah, that's exactly like I said. I think what happened was the public jumped on Dallas after what they seen. They seen Dallas win game 1, and everybody jumped on Dallas, and Tampa Bay won. And then same thing, game 2. Everybody was like, "Oh, Tampa Bay." And then they figured everybody figured the zigzag theory was in effect, and it wasn't. And look what happened. Like I figured this next game coming up, the world's going to jump on Tampa because they were like, "Oh, everybody, they kicked their butt." I don't think Dallas is dead yet. Don't count them out.
All right, Rod Zawacki says, "Don't count Dallas out." We'll get more coverage on that 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow with Mitch and company. I know that will be the top of the discussion, but.
I got a classic hater here in the YouTube chat. Someone says that all my NBA picks suck. So there you have. Don't bet my NBA premium picks. Whatever you do, just please don't because they suck. Mitch, you suck, Mitch. We lost a lot of money because of me. Yes, I made the bets for you as well. But if you would have bet $1,000 on each of my NBA premium picks, you're up about $20,000. So I think maybe you suck. I don't know. My picks are documented. My premium picks. If you go to Pick Dogs, okay, go to Sport Check because I don't even have any ads on that site, right? Go to Sport Check. I don't make a dime off of this, all right? Go over there, click on the website, okay? Go to the premium picks tab. Click on leaderboards. It says
leaderboards.
Click on leaderboard. Scroll down to NBA, and you just tell me how much I suck. Just keep going, and that's the whole thing about Sport Chat Place and Pick Dogs is that, clearly we give out free picks. We give out a ton of free picks. We give out more picks than anybody else. I spend in free picks in putting those free picks out. Okay. Aside from my own time that I put in, I easily put out, I would say, $250,000 a year. It costs me to put out all these free picks for you guys. Okay. So it's free picks. Cost me $250,000. That's the scam, right? That's the scam, is that I pay $250,000 to give out free picks. Okay. Anyways, we give an opinion on every single game. Anybody that bets and is a real bettor, a big bettor, a small bettor, anything like that, you can't bet an entire card. You can't do it, right? you can have an opinion on every game, and that's what we do on this show. We do it on the morning show. We go through, every game on the card as well. I do videos. We do all stuff. But it's like, these aren't our best bets. The best bets are the ones that I put in the premium area. I say it in the video all the time. I say it in every single video. You might not listen to it, but I clearly say it. And, these are the ones that we stand behind. Now, there are other websites out there, and a lot of them, I'd say the bulk of them out there, they'll sell picks, but they won't even show you what they picked. They'll say, yeah, we went 3-0 yesterday. They won't even show you what the 3-0 is. They'll say, yeah, we had a rough day yesterday, but they won't tell you how rough it was because they're not going to show you the picks. They don't keep a documented record of every pick. There are a few sites out there that do, right? But ours do. So you can see not just what my record is, how much I'm up. You can look at my pick and what I had to say about that game before the game started on every premium pick I've ever given. And I'm going to stand behind it. And you want to sit here and wolf crap at me? I know you're just some YouTube troll and I'm wasting everybody's time. But I'm telling this to everybody out there. You don't have to ask what our record is or how good we are or who's the best at this or who's the best at that. It's all there, and it's 100% documented. Brian Bittler said he's 14-8 in his last 22 plays. And I said, I want to know what you're on in your last 23 then. It's like we don't do that at our websites. We just show our record, and we stand behind it. And it's not like this was, I bet I'm up 1,000 units. Yeah, I lost 29,000 in my bets, and then I've had one game that I won with 30,000 units. I'm up 1,000 units. That's how these guys do the math. With ours, same amount is bet on every single game out there on the board. But anyways, going to leave it alone. Going to let Rod just talk right on over me.
All right, Rod. We're looking here at.
I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of. I'm sick of it. Let's here it is. You suck. Just admit it. NBA bets. Go look at the record, man. Go look, man. Go look and then come back.
And before you get to the M, check the N. You'll see who's number one in NFL. It's Mitch. So it's that's just the way.
This guy. Let's look up this guy. Let's look up this guy and see exactly why he is such a nasty person.
A lot of it
probably
comes from a lot of it. I do take these calls from people and others that work for other services, and they don't like sites that give out free picks. Because it says it takes away their customers.
Yeah, this guy doesn't like life. He probably has a really fat wife and ugly kids and stuff. Just a miserable life. It's the only way you could explain it.
All right, here on the drive-through, a lot of more free
We're
picks.
talking here.
In Mama's basement.
More free picks on the way, guys. We got more free picks on the way. We got that Laker Nugget game is out there. We have some more. Well, we'll talk about an interesting NFL game as well as a big college football game. But I want to get Rod's play tonight. Rod, you're looking at WNBA. We've got Minnesota Lynx and Seattle Storm. Was this the team that was dealing with that COVID test?
Yeah, they missed game one because of a bunch of false negative COVID tests. This is game number 2 in the semifinals of the WNBA here tonight. The Lynx and the Seattle Storm. When I first looked at this, I looked at the 2 regular season matchups, and Seattle whooped them the first regular season matchups of the year. But I seen why. The turnovers, the Lynx were turning the ball over like crazy, which just led to too many points. In game 1 of these playoffs, the Lynx got that under control. They only had 9 turnovers in game 1 compared to the Storm's 16 turnovers. The Lynx also got 7 more shots. They got 5 more shots from 3 and 2 more field goals. So you're getting 7 more shots a game. For me here, this Lynx is definitely gonna hang with Seattle here. This number is way too big, and it's now jumped up. I think you can get +9 in certain books. So take Minnesota Lynx +8.5. I even put a little bit on money line on the money line. Lynx here win game 2.
All right, Rod says take the Lynx in the WNBA. Mitch, have you given WNBA much of a look the past few seasons?
No, I haven't. I'm just not a WNBA guy. I have a WNBA shirt. I wear it once in a while. And, if I ever get outside of the house, something that hasn't happened in a while, obviously. Sorry for losing.
WNBA is one of those little small. It's a small niche sport where you can make some good money at it. If you follow it, usually it's going during the summer and there's no base. Like it's baseball and WNBA, right? So this all changed. And normally I follow this really, really, really closely. I've definitely been following the playoffs. I love WNBA. It's good action.
What are some of the angles? Do you have team? Do they play back to back? Obviously, they don't play as many games, and what do they play? Average 2 games a week? Is that how it goes? So there really is you don't get the scheduling angles like you do from the NBA.
No, exactly. So, teams aren't as deep, right? Like the NBA teams are like huge deep. They have a little benches and so the team isn't as big. So, and this year the same thing they did with like the NBA. That's all been in a bubble, right? They played all the rest of their regular season in a bubble and the playoffs all in the same place. So, it's definitely been different.
Different, and it could be a little niche sport. You can follow it. There's a lot of good. There's coverage. I know there's a game on NBA TV, and the networks have the games as well. So, how long have you been actually handicapping and betting on WNBA?
I'm gonna say probably at least the last 3-4 years. I've been following WNBA and betting it regularly and making good money off of it regularly.
How is the flow of information? When I say that, obviously nowadays with Twitter, I'm sure if you've got a reporter who's covering the team, you can probably get some good injury information.
Oh yeah, all the information you need is right there. It's readily available on injuries. Same that they do in the NBA. You'll know if someone's going to play, someone's not going to play. There's definitely you can find different certain people that are. That's what they focus on is just this WNBA, and. So yeah, there's this information out there that can definitely give you leans and sides on little hidden information if you look around that helps you out in your bets. This little niche sport.
Any certain angles you look for here in the league?
For me, if you watch, sometimes bookmakers they make these lines too big. I don't understand why. I guess they go, maybe whoever's making these numbers they don't follow this as much, but. Some of these lines, they always are just so big, and these playoff games are close. It's like any other playoff.
Sometimes in a sport like WNBA, you'll see real limited numbers that you're allowed to bet on these type of games, and that's not why I don't bet. I don't bet it because I'm already spread too thin. But I have seen limits as to the maximums that they'll take, kind of like some of those small, when they squeeze us on those small college basketball games that we're dialed in on, they'll just say, you can bet it, but it's only $500 per person. So it's like, you got your wife, a couple hobos you picked up at the train station.
Yeah, exactly. Make this bet.
Get your bets in, but it's like, they don't like it. That's when when some of those apps decide that they don't want your business anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. All right,
Yeah.
Rod, looking over at Pig Dogs, and you're having a fantastic year in the NBA, nearly 700 units of profit as we approach the top of the hour. What do you have going right now over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I got a 6-pack still available. I got a side in the college football, the side in the NBA. I got a side and the total in the NFL, and I got 2 MLB plays available. You can get the 6-pack there for $29.95.
All right, guys, check out Rod Zawacki over at Pig Dogs Premium. He's got some plays up there. He's doing fantastic work. You can watch his show with Mitch. That's the morning show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Rod, is always great having your show. Have a great night, great morning. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yep, you too. Have a great night.
All right, everybody. Rod Zawacki here on the drive-through, guys. 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Make it your stop at that time. We'll get you ready. We'll get you ready for all the primetime games, and still a lot more picks coming. We'll have that Nuggets-Laker pick. We'll have that game between UAB and South Florida. We'll have that pick as well. But Mitch, I want to take a look here at a key baseball game today: Brewers and the Cardinals. We're going to get to this one here, and we'll pull up the line right now. As this one starts at 8:15 Eastern Time. It's Burns. We talked about Burns as possible as Cy Young candidate against Kim. Kim has pitched well. You'll see here the total here is low, but we've got Milwaukee favored about $1.45. Total sits here at 7.5. But man, Burns has been on fire this year, Mitch.
he's been really, really tough. I thought Kim has looked pretty good up until his last outing. He had some kidney problems, but seems to have worked those out. But, this is a big game. This is a big series. I believe that one of these teams is going to the playoffs and another one of these teams is going home. I believe it's that big of a series, and a lot of this didn't want to. As I'll tell you, speaking about didn't want it, the Rockies up 4-3 just give up a tape measure job to Brandon Belt, 4-4 now. But I think that this is going to be a pretty good series from top to bottom. I'm going to guess there's some double headers mixed into this thing as well. So it'll be interesting to see how deep they push these pitchers into these games, because these aren't games that are going to be like some of the other teams that have clinched spots and things of that nature. These are two teams that are going to need these wins, and basically this is a playoff series is really what it amounts to, is that the way that it shapes up is that probably one of these teams is in and one is out.
Yeah, right now when you look at the standings, the Cardinals 27-26 hold the fifth seed to the second place team, but they're only one game in the loss column behind the Cubs for first place in the division. Milwaukee outside right now the postseason, 27-28, but they're tied with the Reds in the loss column. So still, like you said, Mitch, a lot to play for. Probably one of the
especially
really,
when
really
it's head to head. I mean, the Brewers win the first two games, they pass them, right? So I mean, it's that close. It really is that close. And, I think, in a 60-game season to get this kind of finish to it, there's a reason there's no game scheduled on Monday. I mean, there's a reason. I mean, I believe there's a solid chance we're going to have Monday baseball. Well,
we could have the Cardinals and Tigers might have to play a doubleheader on Monday. If the Cardinals are within, if those games are meaningful, not just for seeding, but if the Cardinals can win the division or get in the playoffs, there's a good chance the Cardinals will have to play that doubleheader on Monday against the Tigers. And then what happens if they have a playoff after that? That's crazy.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's the way baseball does things. It's like, imagine if it's, the Tigers and the Cardinals. I know what the solution is. That I've heard these Major League Baseball discussions already. The solutions are either that the Cardinals have to play it directly after the Tigers game, or it's like the Cardinals get a week off in between to play it because it's in their contract and in the union agreement. It's like it's going to be something like that. And regardless, maybe the Brewers take care of business here. I mean, really, that's what we could really hope for, is that the Brewers just take care of business.
Absolutely. All right, guys, this is the drive-through. We have a lot more picks coming, and let's go ahead and welcome into the show Chris Ruffalo. You'll listen and watch him in the morning show. Chris, how you doing today? Your brain a little scrambled from all this baseball postseason talk.
I'm just only scrambled. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to bet on the Brewers the rest of this week, just so I can hope that we don't have to deal with any of the shenanigans with the Cardinals down the stretch. I'll tell you, that would. A doubleheader followed by a play-in game on a Monday, that would blow my mind. But
oh my goodness,
stranger things have happened.
And it's funny thing is they already put out the schedule for the first round with the time. So there's a chance that a team could play Monday night and have to play an early game to start the playoffs. I mean, they fly and get off the plane and go right to the stadium. It's crazy.
And I think it would be fairly obvious to say where my money would be at that point.
No question about that one. All right, you're looking at a game with a really good pitching matchup. Houston Javier and Texas Lynn. We got Houston a short favorite. Well, actually, it's gone up from 119 to 130 wherever you shop. Total sits here at 8 with Javier, who's he's put up I guess decent numbers. Well, you could tell with the total when you got a 7.5 total, you're gonna have some pitchers in good form. Of course, Lance Lynn was on the trading block, didn't move here. But how do you see this one?
Yeah, Lynn didn't get traded, and that was a little bit surprising for me, as I think if you take Shane Bieber out of this, Lance Lynn could easily be a front runner for the Cy Young as well, in my opinion. 9 of his 12 starts this year, he's given up 2 earned runs or less. He's had a couple blow-up starts, but other than that, he's been solid all year. I will say, though, it's nice to see that Globe Life Field will be used for some playoff baseball in its inaugural season, even though the Texas Rangers will not be a part of that, and that's still a little bit weird to say. But as far as tonight goes, Houston Astros, for whatever reason, by the way, shout out to Apple. I still need to get my hands on one of those watches. I'm going to tell you right now, Houston, for whatever reason, can't win on the road. And I'm not sure why, because I was watching the Seattle game last night, and I'm just like, you see a team that a couple years ago won the World Series, and now even in a shortened season, this is a team that's 8-20 on the road this year. And it's for whatever reason, the Astros, this vaunted Astros lineup, 6 of the 9 guys that you're regularly seeing in that batting order are hitting less, like under 250. Even like Jose Altuve, who's a perennial 300 or near 300 hitters, batting 210 this season. And Christian Javier, as well as he's pitched, his ERA goes from around 2.40 at home and balloons to over 5 on the road this season. Texas, they've been anemic at times on offense as well. But the thing is, for me, in the first year of a new stadium opening, you see pitchers that are on that team that have that home stadium opening. You can kind of see how they're pitching at home. There's not past years that kind of skew those numbers to say, oh, well, they pitched well at home, yeah, but they pitched, they had a 3-6 record this year. They had a 6-1 record at home this year. It's first year in this new field. You're seeing Lance Lynn go 5-1 with a 1.88 ERA. He's pitching well at that park. There's just too much value for me with the Rangers here and Lynn on the mound to pass up. I'll take the Rangers on the money line here.
All right, Chris Ruffalo says take the Rangers, a little bit of plus money there. Mitch, looking at this Houston Astros team, man, the bats, they're not hitting well, but 208 past 7 games, barely averaging less than 3 runs a game with this Houston team.
Yeah, the bats are part of the problem, that's for sure. But I think the major problem with this Astros team, and has been the pitching, and it's just not the same staff without Justin Verlander at the helm. You can't lose Justin Verlander and Garrett Cole in the top of your starting pitching rotation, and have Lance McCullers be the pitch the way he has this season on the road, which has been ridiculous. I mean, just unacceptable, in any way, shape, or form. And have that and expect to have a winning baseball team. You need to have quality pitching, and regardless of who's hitting and who's not hitting. We've seen light hitting teams, and we know that some of these Astros runs that they've done, this was the best 8th inning team in baseball. They would go into the 8th inning down 3 runs and then knock it out of the park, kind of like what Oakland's been doing this year, and what Oakland generally does too. Very similar. Late innings, they get it done. I never thought the Astros were a team that just, bashed teams from start to finish. It was always like these late 8th inning rallies. So I would be less concerned about that. It's just, you go from a rotation where Zach Greinke is your number 3. It's all of a sudden he's your number 1, where Framber Valdez is their long reliever, and all of a sudden he's your number 2. It's like these are fundamental problems, and it's like with Lance McCullers can't get his ERA under 15 on the road. Now you really have some serious problems, and that's what we see from the Astros. Thankfully, most of the division is laid down for them, and they'll sneak into the postseason where someone's going to throw a ball at their head, and that's what we've seen the Astros all season too. Is that it's been quiet. They've tried not to highlight it. How much the Astros get thrown at, but before the season, it was a big thing that they were going to get thrown at all season, and yeah, they've been thrown at all season, and it's been Oakland that's really been thrown at them too.
Yeah, right now Houston a 6th seed, the 2nd place seed, but the Angels 3 games in the loss column back of. We'll keep looking at the Toronto team, but it's actually Houston with 28 losses. That's the most losses for any playoff team from 1 through 8 right now. So the Angels, of course, long shots. I think they blew it in that Arizona series. But anyway, your thoughts here, Chris? Houston moving in the postseason, probably playing will be the 3 seed, and that 3 seed is up in the air here in the AL.
Yeah, I mean, you look at even if you have Tampa Bay, you have like an Oakland, and whether it's Minnesota or the White Sox, that's going to be a tough series for Houston to get out of, no matter who it is. I mean, we've seen the White Sox and the Twins. The White Sox have been very streaky, and they've been very good offensively. The Twins have the pitching staff that can slow you down. They play phenomenal defense. They played to the under the most in any team in the major leagues this season. The Rays, they have balance. They got that pitching staff that there's not really a top tier ace level pitcher, but they still have a bunch of pitchers that can get outs when they have to. And Oakland, has been a thorn in Houston's side this season and taking them down at every opportunity. So I honestly have trouble, even in a 3-game wild card series, seeing a viable option where Houston gets through here, especially if they're going to have to play a game on the road. And if you see Lance McCullers on the road, oh boy.
Oh boy, that's correct. And I personally want to avoid that's right.
Do they wheel them out on the road? It's kind of like when John Lester was with the Red Sox, they didn't want to pitch him on the road in National League cities because he would have to hit. And, I think that you have to avoid McCullers on the road. There's been teams that have danced around it, just like Kyle Hendricks. We won't be seeing him on the road either, my guess is in the postseason. And they're going to dance around that as well.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why you saw the Dodger Stadium used for the American League Park, because I guess they didn't want to give these pitchers the benefit of having to pitch on the rubber, on their mound and rubber. I think some of these teams get, of course, and I think for the pitchers it might matter a little bit. I don't know what you think about this, Chris. If you're a pitcher, you're kind of used to the rubber, the dirt around the mound area. You're a little more familiar with that, and it may have been an advantage for LA if they played that if Dodger Stadium was the site for the NL playoffs.
I think so. I think even if you're a team that's in that division, in a regular season, you're going to play the same team, 19 times a year. Split those games up, you still play 10 times a year. You'll still, even if you get 2 starts, you're still somewhat familiar with that ballpark. And, Tony, like you said, these home ballparks, these home teams get used to playing on their own field for obvious reasons. And I also think it was the same. I would have liked to see it flipped around for the NHL. I'm not trying to veer off course, but you still had, Toronto and Edmonton playing in their respective markets, when I think you could have flipped it like you're seeing here with the NL playing on the East Coast and the AL playing on the West Coast. And, there is a sense of familiarity there, but at the end of the day, I hate to state the obvious, but it's still about execution. You still have to be able to make those pitches. You still have to be able to get out of those jams. And, regardless of the ballpark, it's still the human element at play here.
Absolutely. This is Chris Ruffalo joining us here on the drive-thru. Chris, I'm seeing you over at Pick Dogs Premium. You're making a run for number 1 in the NBA, getting close to 1,000 units of profit. You're going to try to get on Mitch's tail. What you got going over on at Pick Dogs Premium?
That is the only running that you will see me doing at some point. Even that, I don't think I'm going to catch up. I'll tell you right now, I never envisioned myself working at a drive-through growing up, but this is the kind of drive-through I can sort of get behind. Yeah, I've been enjoying making these sort of last-minute plays for anybody who missed my stuff in the morning. I'm going to do it again today. I'm going to give you a nice heaping pile of 4 MLB plays with a side of 2 NBA. And wash it all down with a college football play, my number 4 combo at the website. It's going to be up. Normally I say I'm going to hold up until the end of the show, but I think we're going to run a little bit past 7. Games are going to start at the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour, so I'm going to have it up there until about 7:30 until those games go off for $29 at the website.
All right, guys, check out Chris
Ruffalo working the drive-through. It's like, hey, I only got 4 nuggets. What the hell happened here?
1 for you, 1 for me. 1 for you, 1 for me. It's a service charge.
Okay? Nuggets. I only got 4.
Only 4 of them, Chris.
Oh no, that's a shame. I got to go back and get you 4 more.
Then explain the barbecue sauce on your beer.
It was quality control. There was nothing I could do, but I had to make sure they were okay to give to you.
All right, Chris Ruffalo join us here on the drive-thru. Chris, have a great night. We're going to listen and watch you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time in the morning show with Mitch and company.
All right, sounds good. You guys have a good night.
All right, Chris Ruffalo join us here on the drive-thru. All right, guys, we still have a lot more picks coming. We got the play from Wnba South Alabama. We got the Laker game still to come, and we got a college and an NFL game to cover. All right, Mitch, let's take a look at this baseball game. Baltimore at 7:30 Eastern Time. Baltimore, Cobb, Boston, Perez. We got a big line here from Martin Perez. $1.55, even $1.65 in some places. Total sits here at 9.5. And of course, Perez has put 3 good starts together. How do you see this one?
The Red Sox have just been killing the Orioles this series. I made the mistake of taking Keegan Aiken in Game 1 of this series, and I paid the price for it the hard way with cash. Then last night, it was just more of the same. I didn't take Baltimore last night, but it was more of the same. The Red Sox have really been pouring in the runs, and these two teams have no pitching between them. And now you have Cobb against Perez. This one's good. It looks to be a high-scoring matchup, and the Red Sox have certainly had the edge in that respect in this series. Boston played terrible all season long, and generally against Baltimore, they've been terrible, but not this series. This series has been a little bit different.
Yep, and I kind of look at the way you see. I look at it kind of an over type of game, over 9.5 with that one with Baltimore and the Orioles. All right, guys, continuing here with the drive-thru. I'm joined by Mitch. Now it's time for Mitch's pick, 7:30 Eastern Time. It's the UAB South Alabama College football game. This one will be on Big ESPN. We see UAB now up to 7.5-point favorite. This number has moved here from it was 7 today. It was right around 4 to 6 on Sunday when the lines opened up. It was pushed up here. The total sits here at 47.5. Of course, South Alabama and UAB. How do you see this one, Mitch?
Yeah, we've seen both these teams, which is pretty cool. That's how lousy the schedule's been this year. Showing, that South Alabama and UAB are kind of like in our repertoire. We saw UAB on a Thursday night at Miami, and what we saw was that the defense did not hold up. It did not hold up at all in that game. South Alabama has played well for the most part, which makes this line move, all that much more suspect. UAB just, when Miami started battering them, they had no answers. And, they don't have their QB here either. And, South Alabama, we saw some pretty sharp wide receivers from them in their games, especially that one against Southern Miss. The game against Tulane, they let the lead go. But, Tulane, I think, is a better team than UAB. And, they lost by 3 in that one.
All right, joined here with Mitch.
I think, but basically what we're seeing is, where I was going with this, and I kind of lost track, which I do, it happens. And someone asked in the question, like, how come you haven't been out of the house in 2 weeks? It's like, how do you think all those videos get made? I'm still wearing the same shirt and hat and everything, and I haven't moved from this seat since you've seen me at the morning show. I'm still in the studio today. I did all the college football videos for Saturday. But I look at this, Miami 31, UAB 14, Central Arkansas 35, UAB 45. Then you look at the other side of this one, South Alabama, Tulane 27, South Alabama 24. You look at Southern Miss, who's terrible, right? 32 for South Alabama, 21. I mean, how do you not get over? I mean, how does it not go over? I don't see it, So this game's going over the total.
Yeah, I have
47.5. I mean, the least amount of points that's been given up by either of these teams was 21 to Southern Miss. Outside of that, I mean, UAB gave up, 35 to Central Arkansas.
Yeah, and the Jaguars have been able to move the football on as well through the air with their 2 quarterback system, as well as in the ground. The running back Carlos Davis, 5.4 yards a carry. And I'm with you there, Mitch. I like this one. I think we'll see some scoring here in this one. Also, I think the underdogs have played too, because I like the way Alabama's moved. I don't know. I just think UAB is a little overrated. They lost their starting quarterback, but Lucero should be able to move the team against this defense. But to me, I think a lot of the offense will be South Alabama here. What do you think?
I think that neither of these teams. The one nice thing about this matchup is that even without the fans in the stands, it's pretty much normal circumstances for both these teams. So it's really not something that they're not used to. I think when they show those UAB games is usually when it just seems like, oh my God, it's ghost town. It's like there's nobody at the game. It's like it's an amazing thing. But generally these night games on ESPN, and even tomorrow night, when I'm not on the show, I'm actually Joe D'Amico will be back tomorrow. So I won't be on the show, but these night games on ESPN generally go over. They're generally high-scoring games. I mean, those Friday night games are ridiculous. It used to always be like Air Force and Colorado State. It's like 608, 89 to something, right? It's like, meanwhile, all I need is one run here from the Rockies or the Giants, just one. I don't care who gets it, just one.
Just one run. All right, Mitch, what do you got going on? I know you're number 1 NBA, number 1 NFL. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
I don't know. According to the people on YouTube, if you just fade all my picks, you're in really good shape. But I have a 5-pack tonight. I got 2 MLB, 1 college football side, 1 NBA side, and 1 NFL side. So that's my 5-pack for tonight. I think it's like $35 or something. So knock yourself out. Whatever. We got a lot of great cappers at the site, so check out everybody's picks. I'm just, I do the best I can. I never started, do this in this space to sell picks or to sell my best bets. That was something that was requested by the audience, back in the day at college football place. Start a place to put your best bets, and we'll pay you for them. And I said, all right, I'll do it. And I was like, no one's going to do that, but they did. And I continue to do it. But if you look, I keep my prices reasonable. And I just, the reason why I charge at all is because it's the people that buy premium picks. It's not necessarily the same people that that don't buy premium picks, and it's like they're going to pay somebody. At least I'd rather have them pay somebody who's honest and is at least going to show you when they lost and show you the record and things like that, as opposed to just come up with these ridiculous odd numbers. It's like my last 268 Monday night games with a favorite of 4 points or less. It's like, who cares? It's like, show me the money, right? Just show me the money. So this is who we are. We're not going to change that for anybody. And it's like I'm like it, hate it, whatever. We're not going anywhere. We're just getting bigger and better. Going to unveil some new things as we carry on into the fall.
All right, guys, this is the drive-through 6 p.m. Eastern time. Still, we've got the college football pick. We got the Laker game, a Laker pick coming, as well as we'll look at the an NFL. And at the end of the show, we'll recap all the picks that you heard from the show from all the cappers. So stay tuned. We will recap every pick. Mitch, we got to talk this Florida State and Miami game. That's Saturday night in prime time. Again, Miami in prime time, just like the good old days, Mitch. Miami Hurricanes, about 11.5 point favorite. Total sits at 54. I know a lot of time to say in a rivalry game, double digits, you kind of sometimes you just blindly take the number here, take the plus. But how do you see this one? As we saw Miami with a good performance against Louisville, did give up a lot of yards. Some will say, well, that was garbage yards because Miami was way up in this one. But how do you see it?
I've never been to a Miami-Florida State game in Miami that's been decided by 11 points or more. Never. I can't see it. I've been to games where one team was up and the other was down. I've been to where it's 1 versus 2. I've been to one where one was on the rise and the other one was on top of the mountain. And it's always been a close game, decided late. That's why all of these field goal games, it's been 5-6 games that have been decided by missed field goals. Miami's got the great kicker this year. Maybe they're the ones in position. There always seems to be some stumbles in these games. A couple of years ago, Miami missed the extra points, and that was the difference in the game. I just think that this game is going to be an under. I think both teams, we're going to see both teams running the football, and I think that's what's going to do it. Neither of these teams are going to want to throw against these defenses. I don't care what the records are in this game. What you're going to see is a different type of football game than you see in any other game all season long. You're going to see more speed than you will see anywhere. And I know the SEC people, the Ohio State people are going to talk about how fast they are and everything like that. No, they're not. Not compared to this game. Because you're going to see more players that end up playing prominent roles on NFL Sundays in this game than you will in any other game this entire college football season. You can mark my words on it.
All right, that's Mitch here.
And I think we're going to stay under. I think we're going to stay under because these are two teams that were the players. They know each other very, very well. And we talked about the NFL game and how you recruit, how you build your team to play against the teams that you're going to play every year in your division. Well, these two teams, they build these teams to play against one another, and that's why they match up so well every single time. This is the one. If as a Miami fan, if we went 1-11, our one win was this one, I'd take it. I'll take it. I will take it any day of the week, and I think I'd rather go 12-0, but it's like I'll take this one. It starts with this one. There's no Miami coach that's ever been successful without winning this one.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's Mitch. He says likes the under in this one with Miami and Florida State. All right, we'll continue here on the drive-through. Now it's time for my pick, and we're going to be looking here at this LA Lakers and Denver Nuggets game. We see here the Lakers favored 6. Total sits here at 214.5. And well, in this one, I'm gonna go ahead and take the points here with the Denver Nuggets at +6. Denver, well, they continue their good shooting against the Lakers as they've connected on 55% in their win against LA in Game 3. It's the third game in 6 days for Lakers. Now they're going to be playing their fourth game in 8 days. We're looking here at LeBron getting up there in age, and they get pounded on the glass by 19 boards. I think fatigue will be a factor here. But again, Denver, they shot 49% from the field or greater against LA in 5 of their past 6 meetings. The lone game exception was 47%. Denver is shooting the ball very good against the Lakers this year. So that's one reason I like Denver. Also, the supporting cast of the Lakers, I think it's a major concern here on out for this series. So I prefer taking the points deep in the series here with the team with depth. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Denver Nuggets plus the 6 against the Lakers. Mitch, how do you see this one, Lakers and Nuggets?
Yeah, I think this one's going to be a war as well. I think the Nuggets figured something out last game, and I think they're going to stick to the same game plan. You know, you look back 2 games ago, and it took a miracle shot by a great player, to win the game. Last time out, LeBron had a triple double, and as Charles Barkley said, after the game, he didn't play good enough. And that really is what happened in that one. He had a triple. He goes, this is the problem that the Lakers have, is that when you have only really 2 great players, LeBron had a triple double, and that's not good enough. He didn't play good enough to win this game. Anthony Davis and LeBron both have to have stellar games. I understand the Lakers supporting cast has really come on, but I don't think Denver thinks Caruso is going to take him down. It's not going to happen. It's not like the Miami Heat where Harrow's going to light you up for 30 plus, which is remarkable, right? I mean, we knew this kid was good coming out of Kentucky. They didn't even think he was going to be this good. I thought he was going to be the guy, like when you get the technical foul and you get to pick who's going to shoot it's this guy, right? But it's like, no, this guy's from another planet. Jimmy Butler just feels total confidence giving him the ball. But that's different series, different game. But I just think that the Lakers supporting cast is going to have to play better. They're going to have to play better, even better than they have stepped up. Because this Nuggets team, they're never out. They've come from 2 series, 2 wars, and here they are again, looking fresh as a daisy. And, they have an emerging superstar. You wonder who's going to be the next superstar of the league? We're finding out right now in Denver, and it's his name is Murray. So, I just think that this is a great series. I look for this one to go under the number. I think that, that LeBron and AD are going to struggle to score, and the supporting cast, I think, is going to be responsible for the bulk of it, and it's going to be a war all the way. I like the under. I think, at 214, the books are trying to beg you to take the over here.
All right, that's Mitch. I'm Tony here on the drive-thru. We'll take a look at this NFL. We promised NFL. Let's take a look at this one here. Tampa Bay at Denver, the late game on Sunday. We have Tampa Bay laying 6. I think we see it at 6.5 someplace. Total sits here about 43.5 to 42. So there's a wide spread there in the total. Of course, it'll be Driscoll getting the start, which Mitch knows back in day up in Florida, and of course Tom Brady for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Mitch, just get your thoughts here on this one here, as we see Denver here having to go to their backup as Locke gets hurt.
Denver plays in a lot of close games, just a real lot of close games. I think the issue here is the 6.5, right, or 6. I don't. Yeah. When I looked before, it was 6.5. I think the issue here is that. I think if you're 7.5, I kind of like Denver, but at 6.5, Tom Brady at home, and Denver now 2 weeks, removed on the road. I just think that, on the second game of a back-to-back road stretch, teams usually don't play as well. Teams on back-to-back of a home are usually more comfortable and even better than they were the week before. I think Tom Brady is starting to get more comfortable with his teammates. You're starting to see it. I'm not saying that he's the Tom Brady of old, and I'm not saying that the Bucs are even going to win that division or anything close to it. I'm just saying, with Driscoll in there, I think Denver might be in a little bit of trouble in this one.
All right, Mitch says thinks Denver could be in trouble here with Driscoll. All right, guys, this is the drive-thru. Remember, tune in 6 p.m. Eastern time for plays on all the primetime games, and we'll also look at some football. But what I want to do right now is go ahead and recap the picks from the show today. Let's take a look at the show picks, and we'll start with Alex Smarty. Started the day off, started the show off with us, taking Oakland Athletics at plus 190. You can probably see 200s if you shop around against the Dodgers. Al Nino said the KC Royals on the run line, minus 1.5 runs at plus 120 against the Tigers. Rod Z comes in with WNBA action. Minnesota Lynx at plus 8.5 against Seattle Storm. Chris take the Rangers plus 114 against Houston Astros. Mitch, UAB South Alabama at bottom of the hour kickoff. Take it over 47.5. And yours truly will be on the Nuggets at plus 6. I ask Mitch this all the time. Other than your pick, Mitch, which play there do you like the best?
Nuggets.
All right.
Same thing I said the other day. I'm gonna stick with it. I just don't see LA coming out and stomping them. it was kind of like last night with the Heat, you know, when you said you like the Heat, you know, and I said, yeah, I like the Heat with the points as well. And, you know, it was just, the game was a 2-point game, you know, all the way down the stretch. We were good all the way. We had it all the way, you know, had it all the way. The only thing that could have got us was overtime, and that wasn't going to happen either, you know. So I think in this one, the last 2 games, there's been nothing showing that LA is going to beat Denver by double digits or something. You know, I don't think it's going to be like a 7 or 8 point win. It's either going to be a double digit beat down like game 1, or it's going to be, you know, how the other 2 games have gone down to the last minute, or, you know, Denver, who might be the deeper team here, you know. I think outside of the first couple of guys, it's kind of LeBron and AD, and you got Joker and Murray, and, you know, kind of the everyone else. And I think Denver's everyone else is actually a little bit better.
Yeah, they're definitely a little bit better than the Lakers. All right, guys, this was a drive-through, guys. Remember, tomorrow, tune in at 6 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have a lot of cappers on. We'll go over all the games. We'll have the Heat-Celtics game. There'll also be a college football game that was patched together with UTSA and Middle Tennessee State. We'll have that covered as well. We'll have some NFL talk as well as the baseball. There'll be a full card of Major League Baseball for Friday the last weekend of the series, Mitch, so it'll be crazy.
It's going to be crazy, and I'll tell you, those of you out there, if you're still with us, be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and if you can say a quick prayer, I'm not religious in any way, shape, or form, but a quick prayer that maybe this game, Rockies-Giants game, you know, just, you know, a little, you know, sacrifice the guy to third, knock the guy home, and that's it. And even if the Giants hit a 2-run homer to win the game in the bottom half, it's all good, you know. But it's you know, a 1-run game would be really nice. Nice way to start the day.
That would be a nice way to start. All right. As always, thanks for joining us. Remember, Mitch's show in the morning show, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time to start your day. And we're here for prime time at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'm Tony T for Mitch. We'll bring up all the pick dogs, give you guys a wave goodbye. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.